Welcome to the Mavs Report right here on 105.3 The Fan here on YouTube. My name is Kevin Gray, your Mavericks Insider for 105.3 The Fan. Got to get you ready for game number one between the Dallas Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors, as the Dallas Mavericks are back in the Western Conference Finals for the first time since 2011. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button right here on 105 through the Fan here on YouTube. And you can follow us on Twitter at 1053 The Fan on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can find me on Twitter at Kevin Gray Sports. Make sure, again, you subscribe to 105 through the Fan here on YouTube. Already got some people in our chat room right here on 105 through the Fan on YouTube. Vikram, how you doing, Kevin? I'm doing well. I'm excited. This Mavericks team back in the Western Conference Finals for the first time since 2011, looking to take on a Golden State Warriors team who has been there, done that, although this team is a little bit different this time around than what we've seen in years past, but nonetheless, the same kind of massive success this team is enjoying once again back in the Western Conference Finals. Steph and Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Jordan Poole, all of the usual cast of characters when it comes to the big three. For the Golden State Warriors, they're back. They're looking to put their stamp and mark on this series, and it starts with game one tonight in Golden State. The Western Conference Finals exclusively on TNT. Tip-off tonight is at 8 p.m. in San Francisco, California. As we go through our Mavs Report live right here, let me know your predictions on the game, how you're feeling about what the Mavericks are looking to do against the Golden State Warriors. We'll get into all kinds of stuff to break down what we've got going on for the Mavericks taking on the Golden State Warriors. Again, make sure you're subscribing to 105 to the Fan here on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter at Kevin Gray Sports. Hit that like button while you're here. Make sure you're hitting that like button if you're going to be joining us here during the course of our show as we get you ready for game one between the Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors. The Dallas Mavericks winners of 52 games this year, dispatching of the Utah Jazz in 6 games, dispatching of the Phoenix Suns in 7 games, and an absolutely epic performance in game number 7, where Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson, and Spencer Dinwiddie combined for 89 of the 123 points that were scored in that 33-point beatdown in game number 7. How those three will look tonight will obviously remain to be seen. But what's most important now is this team is playing with a lot of confidence. They're playing with quote-unquote house money, if you will, but a team that is ready to play. They stayed out on the West Coast, opting not to return to Dallas as they stayed out on the West Coast to avoid, jet lag and all those kinds of things. So they remained on the West Coast, and now they are prepared for game number 1. Obviously, Luka Doncic is ready to go, averaging over 33 points in the postseason throughout his career. We saw what he did in game 7 with the 35 points that he had, but it's all about the supporting cast around Luka Doncic and who will come with him, obviously, throughout the course of this series. We'll focus on plenty of those things throughout the course of our time here today, right here on 105 through the Fan. Again, if you're here, make sure you're hitting that like button right here on 105 through the Fan here on YouTube. Tell everybody to come on in as we get you the Mavs Report live, get you ready for game number 1 tonight between the Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors. For the Golden State Warriors, this is familiar territory for them. They haven't been here in a while, but they know what it means to get to the Western Conference Finals with a chance to get to the NBA Finals on the line. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, the big three for this team. The Golden State Warriors will go as they go. Most importantly, for Steph Curry at the age of 34, what kind of vintage performances will you see from him in this series? How will the Mavericks look to contain him as they deal with his barrage of three-point shooting, his ball handling? And we know how good he is when it comes to creating off the dribble, breaking guys down, and being able to get his own shot whenever he wants to. Coach B in our chat room, Dub Nation, let's go. Oh, no. This is Mavericks territory right here, but appreciate you joining us right here on 105 through the Fan. From Taco 41 here in our 105 through the Fan chat room. Let's see. Mavs in 4 if they win tonight, build off the game 7 momentum. You're the first person I've seen, Taco 41, to predict a sweep for either team, let alone the Dallas Mavericks. sweeping the Golden State Warriors. I'm not going to take it all the way there. We'll get to our prediction a little bit later on during our Mavs Report live right here on 105 through the fan here on YouTube. From Vikram, yikes, we got an intruder here. Laugh out loud. Yeah, look, if you heard Sean and RJ a little bit earlier today, you heard their crosstalk with 95.7 out there in San Francisco. A lot of trash talking going back and forth. Obviously, these two teams who the Mavericks won 3 out of 4 games this year. The common thread in those games, though, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, none of those three played together in those three games, those 4 games this year, where the Mavericks won 3 out of 4. From Wow Wim Tim, I see the Warriors doubling Luka Doncic hard tonight. Hey, that's a strategy that you might see from them, when it comes to the Golden State Warriors and what they're trying to do and make other guys beat them. That's where Jalen Brunson, Spencer Dinwiddie, Maxi Kleber, Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock, that's where all those guys come in at to be able to try and make things difficult for the rest of the Mavericks other than Luka Doncic. Again, if you're in the 105 through the fan YouTube chat room, make sure you're hitting that like button here. Mavs Report Live. Again, my name is Kevin Gray. You can find me on Twitter at Kevin Gray Sports. Make sure you're following 105 through the fan on Twitter, as well as we get you ready for game number 1 tonight between the Golden State Warriors and your Dallas Mavericks. I'm just happy to be here, to be honest. Let's see how it plays out. None of us imagined the Western Conference Finals for the Mavs in the beginning of the season. Well, look, you're here now, and as Dorian Finney-Smith said the other day, I mean, we're here, so we might as well win it. And I think that's the same mentality I would like for this team to adopt. Hey, we're not supposed to be here. No one thought we would be here. No one thought we would win 50 games this year, over 50 games this year. No one thought we would beat the Phoenix Suns the way that we did. If we're here, we might as well win. From Taylor Thread, love you, kids. Hey, appreciate you joining us here. Appreciate you joining us right here on 105 through the fan or Mavs Report Live. I can't give you any betting advice. So, unless you probably wouldn't want it from me, tweet RJ Choppy or something. Tweet the Degenerate. He might give you some good tips and betting advice for tonight's game. But yeah, I think that's the attitude you have to take if you're the Dallas Mavericks. We're the team playing with the house money. We're the team that has the ability to be able to walk into Golden State, and we're going to do so with a lot of confidence. We know what Golden State is going to try and do from a ball movement standpoint. They're going to try to speed things up offensively to try and put pressure on the Mavericks defense. We know what the Mavericks are going to try and do offensively in terms of controlling the pace of the game. They like to use a ton of clock when it comes to utilizing their offensive possessions, but you have to be careful with that if you're the Mavericks, because running down the shot clock the way that they do, you've got to be efficient in terms of the scoring that you do when you have those offensive possessions, so you're not coming up empty while still running the shot clock down, because what you don't want to do is to get into a track meet with the Golden State Warriors, a team that can get out in transition and be able to knock down open three-pointers in transition with Stephen Curry and obviously with Klay Thompson. And then more importantly, on the defensive end for the Golden State Warriors, they're led by Draymond Green, the Swiss Army knife that he is. He's a very smart basketball player with a high basketball IQ that can make a lot of things happen on the defensive end, does all the little things, the passing, the facilitating, the defense, all the things that you want a guy like him to do. He's perfect for what they do offensively and defensively. Obviously, the Mavericks have to account for him going into tonight. I love this name here in the YouTube chat room, Potato Buff. Mavs in 6. I've seen some predictions with that too as well. Mavs in 6, Mavs in 7. I've even seen some Mavs in 5 today as far as that's concerned. So a lot of Mavericks fans feeling very confident about what the Mavericks can do in this series and how quickly they could possibly win this series. Again, if you're in our 105 through the fan YouTube chat room, make sure you're hitting that like button so everyone can know, hey, Mavs Report Live right now on 105.3 The Fan. That way you can get more and more people into the viewing room and the chat room right here on 105 through The Fan. Make sure you subscribe to 105 through The Fan here on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter at Kevin Gray Sports. So the Mavericks should take the mentality of this as we start to kind of dive into and break down what we think could happen tonight with game 1 of the Western Conference Finals between the Mavericks and the Warriors. Number 1, play loose and have fun. Jason Kidd has talked about having that fun, playing with that joy, with that freedom that starts with Luka Doncic and what he's capable of doing. But if you're the Mavericks, you could come into this series with all the confidence, be loose, have fun, and play your game. The Mavericks have proven throughout the course of these playoffs that when they are making shots, when they're getting active on the defensive end, getting into passing lanes, deflections. At one point in the Sun series, they had a 16-steal game. This team is very active, and when they choose to be active on the defensive end, that translates normally on the offensive end for them. We talked about throughout the course of this season. Jason Kidd gave me one of the quotes of the year for this team when I asked him, when shots aren't falling, why does this team tend to hang their head on the defensive end? He said, because we weren't built to play defense. This team has learned how to play the kind of defense that Jason Kidd has asked them to do, and now they've put themselves in position where that is their calling card. This team, if they can lock in defensively and make things difficult for Stephen Curry, because you're not going to necessarily stop Stephen Curry. You're not going to necessarily stop Klay Thompson. But what you can do is bother them, make things difficult for them, and put them in a position where they're having to make tough shots. The tougher the shots that they have to take, the better you are in terms of your opportunities to be able to take advantage of some transition opportunities and to be able to put some pressure on them as well. From Potato Buff here in our 105 Through the Fan chat room. Hey, Kevin, do you think Coach Kidd will play our deadly small ball of Dorian Finney-Smith at the 5, Luka, JB, Spencer, and Reggie? I think you'll see that at times, and I think it'll be fun for them to watch. But it's interesting because if you do go small, that may play into some advantages for the Golden State Warriors, who are fairly small themselves. Draymond Green is normally going to be at the 5 for them. They have Kevon Looney. They have, a little bit smaller lineup. So that may actually play into the hands of Golden State a little bit. But with that being said, you could still play that small ball lineup and have guys draw Looney and others outside the paint so that you can be able to knock down threes, because you're going to have plenty of open opportunities if you're Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock, and others to be able to knock down open shots. Make sure you're coming inside the 105 Through the Fan YouTube chat room here. Let everybody know we're talking about the Mavericks and the Warriors tonight right here on 105 Through the Fan. Again, my name is Kevin Gray, Mavs Insider for 105 Through the Fan. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Kevin Gray Sports. Also, make sure you subscribe to 105 Through the Fan here on YouTube. Let's get a bunch of people in here. Let them know that we're talking about the Mavericks getting ready for game number 1 tonight. Make sure you're hitting that like button while you're in here as well. But again, I think that small ball lineup, you'll see some of that. I think you'll see more of it with Maxi Kleber at the 5, with his ability to be able to play and stretch the floor from the three-point line, and the versatility that he provides on the defensive end, I think will be helpful as well. Let's see. From Bray Bro here, you aren't stealing game 1 when you are the better team. Mavs in 5. I like the attitude. Look, you're not stealing nothing if you're the better team. And look, the Mavericks are not going to be favored in this series to win, just like they weren't favored in the last series against the Phoenix Suns. And we know how things turned out there. They're an underdog going into tonight's game. I believe a 5-6 point underdog going into game 1 tonight. It's going to be a difficult place to play, obviously, but more so than anything, this team is confident. I know you can't necessarily take a lot of things from the regular season, but what you can take from the regular season is the ability for guys like Reggie Bullock, who did a good job against Stephen Curry throughout the course of this season, to be able to bring that same physicality, that length, and that toughness on the defensive end against a guy in Stephen Curry. Let's see here. From Taylor, what are the mismatches between these teams in this series, in your opinion? That's a great question. I think these two teams are fairly evenly matched. Now, one thing that I am concerned about, and it's more so any time you play the Golden State Warriors, is how quickly they can make threes. I think they'll be able to match up fairly well against the Golden State Warriors when you start looking at position for position. I think Dwight Powell can have some advantages in this series because you're not dealing with, the Rudy Goberts and the DeAndre Aytons of the world. You got a guy in Draymond Green who's not necessarily a guy that's going to punish you in the interior with block shots and those kinds of things. He's a great help side, weak side defender, but at the same time, the mismatch I think that you can look to from a strategic standpoint, for example, the Mavericks' ability to attack the lack of post presence that the Golden State Warriors have. And honestly, it's the same thing for the Golden State Warriors against the Dallas Mavericks. And Mavericks don't have a true defender in the post, but at the same time, both of these teams have good guard play, Stephen Curry, Luka Doncic, to be able to attack the weaknesses of these two teams' defenses, which is on the interior. And I think you could see some of that going into the series. But Spencer Dinwiddie, I think, can have some good games in this series. Jordan Poole, who was great earlier on in the postseason, hasn't been great as of late. I think Spencer Dinwiddie could be a mismatch for this team as well. Ice, what's up, man? Appreciate you joining us. Mavs in 6. For Viacom, ESPN went 14 for Warriors and 4 for the Mavs. Not surprised there. Tim McMahon took the Mavs in 6. All right. Let's see here. From Deshaun Davis, Mavs fans need to be humble. Oh, my, not Mavs fans need to be humbled. Hey, look, they got a lot of confidence right now. Mavericks fans got a lot of confidence, and honestly, they should. They're a team that beat the Utah Jazz, closed out Game 6 on the road. They beat the Phoenix Suns on the road in a closeout game in Game 7. Not that they're cocky or overconfident, but this team plays with a lot of swagger, and you know who that starts with? That starts with number 77. So I understand what you may feel like the Mavericks fans need to be humble, but hey, they got a lot of reason to be confident because of what their team has been doing in this postseason, and no one really expected them to be doing what they're doing. So, hey, why not have a little bit of confidence if you're a Mavs fan going into tonight's game? Make sure you're hitting that like button right here on 105 Through the Fan here on YouTube. Again, my name is Kevin Gray. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. From Kevin Moten here in our 105 Through the Fan YouTube chat room. Luka keeps it close, and Kidd takes them over the top. That's one of the big things we've seen from Jason Kidd so far in his playoffs. He outcoached Quinn Snyder. He outcoached Monty Williams. Can he do the same against Steve Kerr? Steve Kerr has been fantastic in Western Conference Finals, and he's been obviously massively successful in these situations. Can Jason Kidd, who's coming back home to the Bay, being able to coach his team that he helped, Dirk Nowitzki helped lead to an NBA championship? A lot of cool storylines in this series. None cooler, I think, than Jason Kidd having a chance to be able to lead his Mavericks team over the team that he grew up with in the Bay in terms of the Golden State Warriors. Obviously, the parallels that the Dallas Mavericks are looking to do to erase some bad history against the Golden State Warriors. You remember the last time these two teams got together was back in 2007. The We Believe Warriors took out the number 1 seeded Dallas Mavericks back in 2007. Dirk Nowitzki was the league's MVP, and we know how that history went. The Mavericks of today are looking to exact some revenge over the Warriors when you look at that from 15 years ago. So Luka Doncic and Jason Kidd is going to put this team in positions to succeed. They trust him in the biggest of moments. You saw the viral moment that he was on the sidelines coaching Dorian Finney-Smith, telling him to stay home on Devin Booker. These two parties, when it comes to the Mavericks players and Jason Kidd, they trust one another to be able to put each other in the best positions to win and win big going forward here. Let's see. They don't have something to hold your mic, bro. Oh, I like to hold my microphone. That's just me. Dallas Cowboys collaboration. I just like to hold my microphone. I mean, I do have, a stand right here. I could put it right there, but I just like to hold it. It's just more comfortable for me. But appreciate the suggestion, though. Let's see here from Feast. Let's see. Mavs should lag off Green and let him get his and focus on everyone else. Yeah, Draymond Green is not a threat to score the basketball. He's not a threat at all. What he is, he's always going to look to pass first. He's always going to look to try and find someone else to facilitate offense for everyone else. So you don't have to worry about that when it comes to Draymond Green and his offense. That's not what he necessarily likes to do. Again, make sure you hit that like button here on 105 Through the Fan here on YouTube. Got over 110 people here. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Tell everyone to come on in as we get you ready for game number 1 between the Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors. It's our Mavs Report live right here on 105.3 The Fan. Let's see here from Prince Moses here. I think everyone is overlooking Dallas because they're looking at Golden State as the same team that won the titles a few years ago. I don't think the Warriors are better than Dallas Mavs in 6. That's a great point. The Golden State Warriors are a much different team than what we've seen for them over the last, 10 or so years. Even without Kevin Durant, this team was much different, obviously much younger. Andre Iguodala was a big part of what they did. He's no longer a factor for this team anymore. This is a team in Golden State that has a little bit more athleticism with guys like Jonathan Kuminga, obviously with Andrew Wiggins. Steph Curry a little bit older now when it comes to what he's got going on. And I think that's a team that has learned how to win differently. They still have their calling card on defense. They're still led by Draymond Green and all the things that he's capable of doing. But this is a much different team than what we've seen in years past from Golden State, a much more savvier team, a team that understands how to poise and keep themselves and pace themselves through games to be able to hunt teams in the end, to be able to win games down the stretch. And let's see here. King Johan, is crazy that everybody thinks there's a big difference between a 3 and a 4 seed. That's the other part about this, too. We're talking about the 3rd seeded Golden State Warriors and the 4th seeded Dallas Mavericks, a 3 and a 4 in the Western Conference Finals. There's not a lot of, gaps between these two teams, and that's why I think the series will be as competitive as it should be, because you've got two teams that are fairly evenly matched in what you've got between the Mavericks and the Warriors, which should make a competitive series throughout the course of these 7 games, hopefully, or if you're a Mavericks fan, a lot shorter. We got over 115 people in here watching now. Appreciate you joining us right here on 105 through the fan here on YouTube. Our Mavs Report Live will get you ready for the Mavericks taking on the Golden State Warriors in game number 1 tonight. Can Luka Doncic come to steal game 1 on the road here? Let's see. We'll start with Ice here real quick. Do you feel Draymond's a little overrated? No, I do not. Draymond Green is very unique to what the to what the Golden State Warriors do. He's their facilitator on offense. He can handle the basketball. He can rebound, push it in transition. He's always looking to pass first, always willing to make the extra pass. And defensively, he's as smart as they come. His basketball IQ is extremely high. And that's things that you can't account for physically, but he knows how to play the game, knows how to control games with his ability to manipulate offenses with the defense that he plays and manipulate defenses with his ability to create for others and help facilitate what Steph and Curry and Klay Thompson like to do. We know that the Warriors are predicated on ball movement, not just their abilities to shoot the ball, but you got guys like Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry running off of screens, screen and roll, flares, pin downs, pick and rolls, all the things that these guys like to do. They're constantly moving, so it makes it very difficult for teams to defend them. And then when they are going from good shots to great shots with their ability to pass the ball, it makes it a very difficult time to guard this team. But I think the Mavericks have the capability of doing so. I think they have the opportunity to do that, but that's something that you have to look for when it comes to Draymond Green and what he brings to the table. Appreciate you guys again. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Got over 134 people in here now. Make sure you're smashing that like button so we get more and more people in here to join us as we talk Mavs, Golden State Warriors right here on 105 through the fan here on YouTube. Let's see here from Nicholas Magruder. I haven't felt this good about a matchup this entire series. I'm excited to see us match up with the small ball Warriors team. It's funny you say that because I felt more confident about the Mavericks if they matched up with the Golden State Warriors in the second round than I did if they took on the Phoenix Suns. And guess what? They took out the Phoenix Suns. So I feel really good about this series. We'll get to my series prediction a little bit later on. But if you're a Mavericks fan and you feel like that this is an even better matchup than what you just had, it makes a lot of sense given how well this team played against them during the regular season. And then when you look at what these two teams present, both offensively and defensively, the Mavericks have the best player on the floor in Luka Doncic. So you've got a real shot to win this series if you're the Mavericks and feeling like you can go into any situation. And more importantly, this team has matured as this postseason has gone on, which should give you a lot of confidence that this team can handle themselves, even the biggest of moments, even when you feel like the Golden State Warriors should be the quote-unquote more experienced team when handling situations like this down the stretch if games are close in a Western Conference Finals situation. Let's see from Deshaun Davis here. If the Mavs do not win one of these first 2 games on the road, it will be over in 5. Warriors have won a road game in 24 straight series. That's 100% fact. The Mavericks, though, have also won 5 straight games at home. They know how to protect home court. So the Golden State Warriors need to find a way to beat them in their building. Otherwise, you could see this thing coming down to a best of 3 if both teams protect home court, much like how the Suns did and the Mavericks did in the previous series. The Dallas Cowboys Collaborative. This is a fabulous platform. You do a great job keeping us informed with the Mavs info. Appreciate you. Hey, you got it. Appreciate that. By the way, make sure you tell Luka to leave the rest alone. 100% agree with you on that. Luka, keep the chirping to a minimum when it comes to the referees tonight. Appreciate you, all of you guys joining us here in our 105 The Fan YouTube chat room. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Got nearly 160 people joining us right now on our Mavs Report Live. I really appreciate that. And make sure you're hitting that like button here on the video. Subscribe to 105 Through the Fan here on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Really appreciate that if you want to keep everything going there. Let's see here. Frosty Nugs 41 in the building. Both channels, we're here, baby. Yeah, if you joined me early on my YouTube channel, appreciate you doing that as well and joining us right here on 105 through the fan. Let's see from LaMarcus Keaton on getting 2011 versus the Lakers vibes and the dynasty. It's funny. Former Dallas Mavericks head coach Rick Carlisle was on with the G-Bag Nation talking about how eerily similar the 2011 team feels like, and this team feels like the 2011 team from back then. The defense, obviously, you've got a terrific superstar in Luka Doncic, much like how the Mavericks had Dirk Nowitzki back in 2011. The defense being their calling card and playing terrific defense during the playoffs. All of those things are paralleling together. And what's wild is the Miami Heat are in the Eastern Conference Finals. They won their first game behind an absolutely spectacular performance from Jimmy Butler. You could meet the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals 11 years later. I don't know what it is about the Heat and the Mavericks 06, 2011. We may be seeing them get together for another date in 2022 for the rubber match. Of course, a 2006 team in Miami winning that NBA championship. The Mavericks getting revenge 5 years later. Maybe we're set up for the rubber match in 2022. We'll see about that. But obviously a long ways to go before we even get to that particular conversation. Again, make sure you're hitting that like button right here on 105 through the fan or on YouTube. Again, my name is Kevin Gray, Mavs Insider for 105.3 the fan. And make sure you subscribe to our channel here as well. Let's see here from Nick. So far, I picked the Mavs in 6 against Utah and the Mavs in 7 against Phoenix. I'm going Mavs in 6 again in the Western Conference Finals. Love the confidence, Nick. I can't argue with you. They've done it already to Utah, done it to the Suns. Why not? We mentioned it a little bit earlier. Dorian Finney-Smith said, look, if we're here, we might as well win it. So there you go. Got nearly 200 people joining us right here on the Mavs Report Live. Appreciate you joining us. Let your voice be heard. Put your questions in here. Let's get this conversation and keep it going right here on 105 through the fan here on YouTube. From Ethan, Kevin, how special is this? We're sitting here entering late May talking Mavericks basketball. Lovely. Absolutely lovely that we are still in the middle to late May talking about Mavericks basketball. And who knows, we could be talking about Mavericks basketball into June as well when it comes to them possibly making the NBA Finals. If you had told me on New Year's Eve when this team was 16-18 that, Kevin, this team would have one of the top 3 records in the NBA during the second half of the year, they would run through Utah and beat them in 6. They would beat the best team in the league in Phoenix in the Western Conference semifinals in dominating fashion in game number 7 to meet the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. I would have told you were absolutely nuts. But that's why they play the game, and that's why we're here right now, because you have to play the game on the floor, and the Mavericks have proven that they are now one of the 4 best teams remaining in all of the NBA. And more importantly, they've earned it. They've earned the right to be in this moment by virtue of what they've done throughout the course of the regular season, especially after the beginning of the year and to now being where they are. It's a night and day difference what this team has been able to do. Let's see here from Nicholas. Has anyone got a chance to pull up to the watch parties at the AAC? They look lit online, and I've been wanting to get up. Yeah, the parties have been great. The watch parties. My partner, the two-time Hall of Famer, Chris Arnold, he has been leading the charge for those Mavericks watch parties. So if you're in the DFW area and you want a place to go watch the game, definitely go to the American Airlines Center. You can go watch the games 1 and 2 at the AAC and have yourself some fun with all the MFFLs and all the Tolos there who are there as well. From Felipe McNamara here in our 105 through the fan YouTube chat room here. Will Josh Green get more playing time than Frank because of his speed and his defense? I don't think so, honestly. Now, Josh Green is a better passer than Frank Ntilikina. He's a little bit better rebounder than Ntilikina. But what Frank brought in the series against the Suns was length, quickness, and he can hit the occasional 3, which Josh Green struggles to do on a consistent basis. I think you'll continue to see Frank Ntilikina in this series. If I had to give you my top 8 in terms of the starting 5 and rotation for the Mavericks. Obviously, the starting lineup is going to consist of Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock, and Dwight Powell. And your guys off the bench will include Maxi Kleber, Spencer Dinwiddie, and I think Frank Ntilikina will continue to get the Josh Green minutes that you saw during the regular season and early on in the postseason. I think those will be your first 8 when it comes to the rotation for the Mavericks. And then obviously you sprinkling guys like Davis Bertans and others at times in this series. But I think that's what you'll look at as your first 8 when it comes to the Mavericks. Got nearly 200 people in here right now for our Mavs Report live right here on 105 through the Fan. Appreciate you showing up and showing out right here on 105 through the Fan here on YouTube. My name is Kevin Gray. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Subscribe to 105 through the Fan here on YouTube. Got nearly 200 people in here right now on the Mavs Report Live. Give me your thoughts on how you're feeling going into game 1. We're going to get to some keys to victory here in just a few moments, but obviously going through our overview of this series and what these two teams have put themselves in position to do here. Let's see here from Frederick Douglas, the quote-unquote chirping by the Suns players seem to fire up Luka. Which Warriors players should we chirp watch for? I mean, it's going to start with Draymond Green. Draymond Green is going to be running that mouth throughout the entire course of this series. He's going to be your chief trash talker, if you will. And you got to be careful when you're out here, messing with Luka and running your mouth around 77. Because the one thing, he may not necessarily start it, but he darn sure will finish it when it comes to the trash talk and the any kind of physicality that they may present to. He may not necessarily respond physically back, but he'll do it with his play on the floor, obviously, going forward there. Let's see here from Z. Mavs fans are so delusional thinking they're going to make the finals. Well, tell me why, Z. Why should Mavericks fans why are they delusional with thinking that their team is going to the NBA finals? Look, when you get this deep into the postseason, any one of these teams can make it. It's a wide open Eastern and Western Conference finals. So Mavericks fans should be really confident that they believe they have the best team that could possibly make it to the NBA finals. When you get this deep, no fan base is delusional because there's only 4 teams left. And if you're one of the 4 best teams left in these playoffs, you've got a chance to get to the NBA finals. It's not hyperbole. It's not delusions of grandeur or whatever to think that the Dallas Mavericks could be in the NBA finals. They've got the best player, I think, remaining in these playoffs in Luka Doncic. That says a lot about what this team is, and more importantly, how we think that they can manage themselves against a team like the Golden State Warriors. Let's see here. Wow, and Tim and Luka, we trust. Micah Clark, I see Miles Turner really looking at the Mavs. Do you think we can get him? I would rather do that than overpay for Rudy Gobert or DeAndre Ayton. Here's the thing. I'll say this real quick about Miles Turner. When he's healthy, he's a legitimate three-point shooter as a big man, great shot blocker, and provides you that stretch 5 that can really be an athletic presence in the interior defensively. So if he can stay healthy, that's a guy that you could see fitting in specifically with the Dallas Mavericks here. Let's see here. But we won't talk. Look, we're going to focus on the president here now, but I love the question, though, about obviously what he brings in terms of a fit here inside of our 105 Through the Fan YouTube chat room right here on 105 Through the Fan. Again, my name is Kevin Gray. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Subscribe to 105 Through the Fan here on YouTube. Let's see here. I lost where I was going. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. From Ethan. Kevin, do you have any update on a potential Tim Hardaway Jr. return? Yeah, Tim's not going to play in the playoffs. He's still working his way back from his Jones fracture. He's not going to play. He's already been ruled out for game 1 tonight. He is not going to play in the NBA playoffs, unfortunately. I know a lot of fans have been clamoring to see THJ back in this lineup for this team. Obviously, you would love to have that kind of three-point sniper that you get in Tim Hardaway Jr. Unfortunately, he's not going to play in these playoffs. He's still working his way back, still trying to get healthy and trying to get himself ready for next year. So, unfortunately, no Tim Hardaway Jr. in these playoffs. And even if they do make it to the NBA Finals, you won't see Tim Hardaway Jr. That's what's expected right now when it comes to his health and his availability. Again, Make sure you're hitting that like button. I only see 37 likes, and we got nearly 200 people in here. Make sure you're hitting that like button right here on 105 Through the Fan for our Mavs Report for 105 Through the Fan here on YouTube. Marcelo, appreciate you. Let's go, KG. Appreciate that. Talking Dallas sports. Do you think Davis Bertans is going to have a big series? Oh, you retracted the comment. That's okay. I think Davis Bertans has a chance to make an impact on this series. And that's what I wanted to say earlier. Someone was asking, I think, about, who on the Warriors bench could have an impact. Bielitsa is a guy who has killed the Mavericks in the past when he was with the Sacramento Kings. That's a guy that could have an impact in this series for the Golden State Warriors. Otto Porter Jr. could have an impact, kind of a Swiss Army knife type of guy. But Bielitsa is a guy for me that I'm going to be keeping my eye on to see with what he's got going on in this series, and maybe he has an impact for the Golden State Warriors. Let's see here. Rick, what's up? Appreciate you joining us here from Byron Bradley. Yes, sir. Mavs in 6. I'm not delusional, just stating facts. What do you think? Yeah, you got a lot of reason to be confident in this team. They've proven enough to show you and give you confidence that they have a chance to win this series. Again, they have the best player on the floor. He knows how to control the pace of a game. The Mavericks like to dominate in terms of time of possession. Luka is number 1 again this postseason in terms of time of possession per game, holding the ball for nearly 10 minutes per game, but everything flows around him because they run that heliocentric offense and what they like to do with him. So the Mavericks have to be able to, as we get into our keys to victory in this game and for this series, moving without the basketball. Too many times I thought in the Sun series, you saw the Mavericks be stagnant in their ball movement, stagnant in their player movement. You can't do that against the Golden State Warriors. You can't be stationary. They like to run more stationary offense, obviously, with Luka Doncic running the screen and roll and pick and roll games, allowing himself to make decisions, with terms of passing the ball, finding players, on the outside for open shots. He'll control the pace of the game, but other guys around it have to move to be able to be in position to handle themselves going forward in this series. Let's see here. From Mia, let's see, the Mavs will ISO Golden State Warriors to death, Mavs in 6. Yeah, he's going to have the ball in his hands a ton. So obviously what they do with Luka Doncic, they can post him up. I like his chances against Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry, putting him in the post and let him work out of there as well. Got over 200 people now watching here on the Mavs Report live right here on 105 Through the Fan here on YouTube. Again, my name is Kevin Gray. Make sure you hitting that like button. You can follow me on Twitter at Kevin Gray Sports. From Jim, rubber match Dallas versus Miami is what they're predicting for the NBA Finals. Let's see here. Eduardo Ramirez. Tim is the Caron Butler of this team. I think they're referring to Tim Hardaway going forward there. From Ethan, Rich Eisen reported on a photo of Luka having a beer with Boban today. Your thoughts, please. That's an old photo. I know that's been going viral today. Luka Doncic is there with Boban and Coach Igor Kokoshkov. That's an old photo. Don't get charged up about it. It's an old photo. Luka's not out here putting beers down before game 1 tonight. He's been in the weight room getting ready for today's game. That's an old photo. So I hate to burst your bubble on that one. That's an old photo. That's from a long time ago. That did not happen today. It's funny, though, to think Luka Doncic could be the one chugging down beers before a game, but no, that isn't necessarily going to happen. Let's see here. From Rick, KG, how much how much playing time do you think Frank Ntilikina will get? I think, as we mentioned earlier, he's going to get significant playing time as far as that's concerned. I think he'll have a tremendous opportunity to do what he did in the series against the Phoenix Suns. So, appreciate that. Appreciate the question there. Byron Bradley, I appreciate that very much. I'll be a new subscriber. Hey, appreciate you subscribing to 105 Through the Fan here on YouTube. Makes a huge difference. You guys continue to subscribe, hit that like button as well, and make sure you're telling people to come on in as we're going through our Mavs Report live right here on 105 Through the Fan. Felipe, appreciate the super chat, dropping that in there for a couple bucks. Appreciate that. Let's see, Jim, is Hardaway close? Nope, Tim Hardaway is not going to be close. He's not going to play in these playoffs. But back to tonight's game and for this series going forward here, the Mavericks have got to come out with the kind of defensive intensity and fire that they showed at times when they were winning games in Dallas, when they won games 3, 4, and 6. And then, of course, ultimately game 7 with the shot making that they did. But what you have to do against Golden State is you've got to win 50-50 balls. You cannot allow second chance points for this team. You've got to close out possessions, one and done possessions for the Golden State Warriors, and not allow offensive rebounds for this team. Because if you do, you're going to give Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson multiple opportunities to score points, and you simply cannot do that against this team. They will make you pay and be able to get things going from the outside, especially with their ability to shoot from there. From Steve here in our 105 to the Fan YouTube chat room, is the real matchup really Kerr versus Jason Kidd? That's one of the big matchups. The adjustments that Jason Kidd was able to make against Monty Williams, against Quinn Snyder, were lauded by myself and others who obviously observed and watched this team. Jason Kidd is going to have a dramatic effect on this series. How he adjusts throughout the course of these 7 games against Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson is going to tell us a lot about how he is going to defend these two, knowing how much of an impact they obviously have for the Golden State Warriors and what they do. From Rick, when can we expect another Cowboys podcast from you and Broadus? To be determined. Appreciate the question, though. Let's see here from Z. Steph, Klay, and Draymond have too much experience. Again, the experience factor lies with Steph, Klay, and Draymond. No one is doubting that. No one is questioning that. The question is, though, how much does this team have left in the tank? We talked about a little bit earlier today, maybe this could be a passing of the torch because Stephen Curry is 34 years old. Klay Thompson's coming off an Achilles injury and a torn ACL. He's gotten better as the season has gone on. But at the same time, this team has been there, has got a lot of miles and a lot of tread on it. Draymond, Steph, and Klay. How much more do they have left? If it wasn't for a John Morant injury, we might have been talking about the Memphis Grizzlies in this Western Conference Finals instead of, the Golden State Warriors. They're on obviously Memphis young team, up and coming team. But I'm just saying things could have been a lot differently here when it came to the Golden State Warriors and them being actually in the series at all. Excuse me. Let's see here. From Tom, who has been better in the postseason, Luka or Jimmy? That's a great question. I'm going to go with Luka Doncic. He's top 2 in points, rebounds, assists. He's literally done everything and more for the Mavericks. But Jimmy Butler has been absolutely spectacular. You saw what he did in game 1 when it came to, the Miami Heat. From Melvin, what are you talking about, bro? What do you mean what I'm talking about, man? I'm just saying. That's going to be something to watch when it comes to the Golden State Warriors. Look, I think if John Morant doesn't get hurt, we could be talking about the Memphis Grizzlies in the Western Conference Finals. I know that ultimately the experience and what the Golden State Warriors were able to do obviously prevailed in that series, but you just never know. Look, we didn't think that the Mavericks were going to beat the Phoenix Suns, and look what happened. So, those things are possible when it comes to this series. From Danielle, let's see here. The Golden State Warriors have not been in the playoffs for 2 years, so they have that hunger and desire. Tend to agree with that. They're looking to get some revenge, obviously, on the rest of the league, but they've gotten better as this year has gone on and obviously put themselves in position to be there. Let's see. From Jim, Reggie needs new skates to fight through those Curry screens. Look, man, the pin downs, the screens, the constant moving and action of Stephen Curry is going to be tremendous in this series. They've got to account for that, obviously, when it comes to what he does. He's a high motor guy, tends to run off a bunch of screens, pin down actions, flare screens, all the things that they're going to do, what they're going to do going forward here. From Ali, Ja was holding them back defensively. Also, the Warriors were up 2-1 on Ja. Again, if he got hurt, I don't know, man. Again, I would have loved to have seen the Memphis Grizzlies at full strength throughout the series, especially with John Morant and what he could have possibly done if he was healthy. Again, I understand the point, but that complexion of that series obviously changed when he got hurt, and we'll love to see what they look like at full strength next year. Let's see here from DNIC, the one Bullock on Curry and Dodo on Klay, in my opinion. I think you'll see Reggie Bullock start off on Stephen Curry. The length, the physicality that he brings. You saw how he was able to pick up Chris Paul full court How he matches up against him is going to be a lot of fun to watch, obviously. Dorian Finney-Smith, I think, will be able to do pretty well on Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson, again, another one of those guys, movement, running off of screens, pin downs, all of those things that you see from Thompson and Curry, both of them love to do. You've got to account for both of them. And Dorian Finney-Smith is going to play well over 40 minutes a game in this series, barring he stays out of foul trouble. That's going to give you a lot when it comes to what they do there. Steve Drake, that Klay catch and shoot could be deadly. Great point. This is what he does. This is what he's always been good at. For Melvin Blackwell, there's no team in the playoffs fully healthy. The Mavericks are. Actually, the Mavericks are fully healthy. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been out since earlier on in the year, so I don't necessarily count him. For what these teams have left, the Mavericks are fully healthy. Everyone is good to go. The only person listed on the injury report is Tim Hardaway Jr. And I know what you're trying to say in terms of the bumps and the bruises. Guys are gone through an 82-game season. The Mavericks will play well over 100 games by the time we get to the course of the end of this postseason. I understand the point, what you're saying, but at the same time, the Mavericks are as healthy as you possibly can be, given how deep they are into the playoffs. But I understand the point that you're trying to make there, Melvin. Let's see here from Ethan. That photo of Luka looking over at Booker and smiling his prices and will live on forever. Definitely will live on forever. That's going to be one of the photos of the playoffs forever and ever. From Jair, let's see here. Haven't really watched a lot of Jordan Poole. Is he legit? And is he better than Brunson? I don't think he's better than Brunson, but what he is a quote-unquote Stephen Curry light, if you will. A guy that can shoot the ball from deep, does a lot of the same actions in terms of moving without the basketball, but obviously a guy that's still developing the kind of consistency that allows you to think that he could be a big part of this team. As I mentioned, he's kind of fallen off as this playoffs has gone on, but he's still extremely dangerous and has obviously proven to be a big part of what they do. A big key in this series, obviously, is the missing of Gary Payton II with the elbow injury. If he was available, obviously that adds another defensive dimension to what they do. Obviously, he's not going to be available as we see the series so far. From Ethan, do you see? Yeah. Yeah, Lil Wayne and Mark Cuban, they can have their thing and do what they do. Let's see here from Steve. Let's see. Okay. Poole is legit, but he's young, can show up to the 3 games in the series. Yeah, he's legit. Like, I'm not taking anything away from him. He's legit and can play. So you got to account for him, obviously, and what he can do going forward in the series. But the Mavericks should feel good about this game. They should feel good about this series. They should feel good about what they have done in this playoffs. Obviously, they're not satisfied. From VIP me in Europe. KG, did you say something? I did say Suns in 7. I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm not ashamed to admit, yeah, I picked the Suns in 7. I thought they were the better team, the more talented team, the more deeper team. They weren't. The Mavericks got them. So I'm happy to be wrong on that prediction, and I don't mind being wrong on that one because it meant the Mavericks moved on. Make sure you hit that like button. It's the Mavs Report live right here on 105 The Fan here on YouTube. Mavericks Insider Kevin Gray. Mavericks Warriors Western Conference Finals Game 1 preview. Can Luka Doncic the company steal Game 1? Make sure you're hitting that like button as well. Tell people to come on in here as we are getting you ready for game number 1 between the Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors. Tip off at 8 o'clock tonight in San Francisco, exclusively on TNT. From James Adams, this series is going to come down to our ability to defend Steph and Klay. The way we defended CP3 and Booker, couldn't agree more with that. From Blake, am I wrong for feeling extremely confident that the Mavs will win this series? No, Blake, not at all. Not at all. Look, you got reason to feel confident. The Mavericks just took out the best team in the league record-wise and did it in dominant fashion in Game 7 on the road. There is no reason to feel like you should be not confident in this team. Now, will they ultimately win this series? That remains to be seen. But if you feel good about it, then, hey, there's nothing wrong with feeling good about it. But that is what it is. Jim said the Suns have talent, but not a better team. Well, I understand the point, Jim. I thought that they did have the better team. Obviously, that kind of imploded as the season or as the series went on. And they've got some things to figure out with DeAndre Ayton and what they're doing going forward there when it comes to what the decision they make with DeAndre Ayton. Obviously, if Chris Paul comes back, he says he's coming back after turning age 37, so we'll see how that goes there. From Ollie, I think the Mavs reached their ceiling, but I'm a Warriors fan, so I got it. I understand the point. I see what you're saying there. From James, we have the best player left in the tournament. Our role players fit him perfectly. There's a lot of good reasons to feel that way. But again, the Mavericks have got to prove throughout the course of this 7 games to slow down Stephen Curry. Again, you're not going to ultimately stop Stephen Curry. You're not going to ultimately stop Klay Thompson. But what you can do is make things difficult for them. You could see a lot of different bodies thrown at Stephen Curry, whether it be Ntilikina, whether it be Dorian, whether it be, Reggie Bullock. What you have to do, especially if you're the Mavericks, let's focus on a couple of things here. If you're the Mavericks on offense, you've got to find a way to punish the Golden State Warriors for switching things. If they're going to continue to engage in switching all their pick and roll, switching all their defensive assignments, Luka Doncic can hunt for whomever he wants to. And with his ability to be a 3-level scorer, to finish inside the paint within 5 feet, to finish in the mid-range, and then be able to step out and hit outside shots, he is going to force the Golden State Warriors to make tough decisions defensively on how they go about trying to defend him. And if that's being said, other guys are going to have plenty of opportunities to be able to knock down outside shots. It's incumbent on Jalen Brunson, Spencer Dinwiddie as part of that second unit to attack the rim constantly and put pressure on the Golden State Warriors to be able to force them to make decisions about how they're going to defend the penetration and the attacking of Doncic, Brunson, and Dinwiddie. And if they can, they're going to find a way to be successful. If not, the Mavericks can have their way offensively, especially I think Dwight Powell is going to be able to have a much better effect on this series with his ability to do the rim running and the screen and roll stuff that him and Doncic are so capable of doing. Conversely, on the defensive end, when you look at the Dallas Mavericks, they have got to defend in the perimeter and make things tough on the Golden State Warriors and make sure that they're not allowing dribble penetration from Stephen Curry. All the movement that he's going to do throughout the course of a game, he's going to try and wear down guys like Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, and others who are going to be defending him. If it's going to be that way, the Mavericks have to find a way. If they're going to be switching things as well, make sure that you're not biting on shot fakes because Stephen Curry is extremely crafty there. Make sure you're staying home on your defenders. Make sure that you're not getting caught on up fakes and all the things and the tricks that a Klay Thompson and a Stephen Curry bring from a shooting standpoint because they can get you into foul trouble. You've got to remain disciplined on the defensive end to be able to give yourself the best opportunity to have your guys remain on the floor. Let's see here. From Chuck, you said the best team, not even close, man. Not when you have a dude that went 0-5 when he's up 2-0 in the series. Look, the Phoenix Suns were the best team in the league. They won 64 games. They were 8 games clear of the next best team. They had what I believe was the best starting 5 in the league, and they were really good defensively, and they did things that, contrary to what other teams do, they knocked down the mid-range to death. When they decide to take three-pointers, they could knock them down at a really good clip. This team, remember, was up 2-0 on the Mavericks, and after the first 2 games, we were saying how the Phoenix Suns were probably going to wind up destroying this team. That didn't happen. You give credit to the Mavericks for the way that they play, but let's not get it twisted. The Phoenix Suns are the best team going into the NBA playoffs. They ultimately choked. The Mavericks ultimately learned how to deal with this team throughout the course of the playoff series and took advantage of it and wind up winning. But let's not get it twisted. The Phoenix Suns are the best team in the league. They just choked when it mattered most, and part of that was the defense. I think it was more about what the Mavericks did than what the Suns did wrong. The defensive adjustments that Jason Kidd made to get, Frank Ntilikina out there onto Devin Booker and Chris Paul, Reggie Bullock starting on Chris Paul at the beginning of that series and switching to Devin Booker as the series went on. It was more about what the Mavericks did than what the Suns did wrong. And I think that's a credit and a testament to obviously what the Mavericks and Jason Kidd were able to do throughout the course of this series. From Money, Suns ultimately ended up being pretenders, not contenders. Agree with you there. But those are the things offensively and defensively the Mavericks have got to be able to do, be able to withstand the movement, the constant movement of Klay Thompson and also Stephen Curry, accounting for Draymond Green with his ability to pass, facilitate, rebound, get this team out on the break, and more importantly, limiting second chance opportunities for the Dallas Mavericks, or excuse me, limiting second chance opportunities for the Golden State Warriors, because you can't allow them to punish you on the offensive end by giving them extra possessions. That cannot be the case in this series. The Mavericks have got to find a way to knock down shots. We know that this team, how good they are when they are knocking down the three-point shot. If they can find themselves making 15 to 17 threes in a game, they're going to find themselves staying with the Golden State Warriors. But defensively, they've got to find a way to limit what Steph and Curry and Klay Thompson do in terms of their shooting the basketball from the outside. If they can, they're going to be in this series and be able to find a way to get things done in not just game one, but throughout the course of this series. Let's get to our predictions. Start throwing your predictions there. Make sure you're hitting that like button right here on 105 The Fan here on YouTube. My name is Kevin Gray. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Make sure you're hitting that like button right here on Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. We are live right now as we get you your Mavs Report live, getting you ready for game one tonight between the Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors. Really appreciate you joining me right here on 105.3 The Fan. From Tim that makes the team that makes the better adjustments will win. Chess, not checkers. Agree with you there. I think Jason Kidd has been perfect in some of the adjustments that he's made so far, and love what he's doing there. And then we're starting to get our predictions starting to flow in here for the game tonight and for the series. From Jim, Mavs in 6. From James, Mavs in 6. Blake, the Mavs in 5 or 6. From Danielle, appreciate you joining us here. Golden State in 5 or 6. That's our first Golden State Warriors prediction for the game tonight. Ethan's got Mavs 107, Warriors 102. Prince, he's got the Mavs in 6. So a lot of Mavericks fans and people confident in the Mavs' ability to get this thing done in 6 games. I haven't seen any Mavs in 7 yet so far today, but a lot of people feeling like this is a matchup that favors the Dallas Mavericks. And in a lot of ways, it does. Because here's the thing. Looking at how the Golden State Warriors are going to defend Luka Doncic, how do you do it? You send multiple bodies with Wiggins, Kuminga. Luka Doncic is going to overpower Andrew Wiggins. Jonathan Kuminga doesn't have nearly the kind of experience to deal with what will be a 3-time NBA, first-team All-NBA performer in Luka Doncic. You don't want to stick Klay Thompson on him because you got to have him ready to do things offensively, and obviously it ain't going to be Steph Curry. So I don't know who guards Luka Doncic. It's going to take a multiple-guy effort to deal with Doncic in that way. Blitzing him, trapping him, double-teaming him, getting the ball out of his hands early on in the possession to try and speed the Mavericks up, because that's what the Golden State Warriors will look to try and do, I think. Speed up the Dallas Mavericks offensively, because we know how methodical they like to be in running their sets, but they will have to get into actions quicker to make sure that they're not allowing the Golden State Warriors to blitz them and get them out of rhythm on the offensive end. But that's my biggest question in the series. Who in the world is guarding Luka Doncic? Because I don't see him out there. It's going to be a team effort for the Golden State to try and deal with Doncic and what he presents. James says Mavs 109, 102 over the Golden State Warriors tonight. Diedrich, Mavs in 7. For money, if the Mavs are up 3-2 going into game 6, then the Mavs in 6, if not in 7. So it sounds like he's picking the Mavs to win either in 6 or in 7 games. Makes a lot of sense there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Regardless of how this series goes, you're going to have some vintage performances. Make sure you're hitting that like button here. See nearly 200 people once again here in our Mavs Report inside right here on 105 Through the Fan here on YouTube. Again, my name is Kevin Gray. Make sure you go follow me on Twitter at Kevin Gray Sports as we get you ready for the Mavs game number 1 tonight. Just 3 hours away now from tip-off, officially 3 hours away from tip-off in San Francisco as the Mavericks look to try and steal game 1 on the road. We always say this when it comes to the road team in these series: get the split. Whether you find a way to win game 1 or game 2, at minimum, get yourself a split to get it back to your own building, where in this case, the Mavericks are on a 5-game home winning streak in these playoffs currently right now. They've protected home court extremely well, and they will feel very confident once they get this thing back to their building about their chances of winning both games in their building, which means if you can find a way to get a split in Golden State, and knowing how confident you are when you get back to the American Airlines Center for games 3 and 4 on Sunday and Tuesday, you could be in prime position to find yourself going back to San Francisco, up 3-1. Again, not saying that will happen, but that's how confident this team is in their ability to win on their home floor. Let's see here. Warriors to this point are letting the main scorers score without sending help, but are preventing playmaking. And that's a way that you can look at how they'll defend Luka Doncic. They'll tell Luka, all right, Luka, go get your 45. Go play Superman. Go do what you do. But guess what? Jalen Brunson's not going to beat us. Bullock's not going to beat us. Spencer Dinwiddie's not going to beat us. All these other dudes, they're not going to beat us. You may get your 45 or whatever, but we're going to stop everybody else and keep them contained, because we don't think for the course of a 7-game series that you can get out here and average 40 and be able to still win these games. How are Mavs games? Thinking about driving up there for 3 or 4. I mean, the atmosphere is going to be fantastic. Trust me. The American Airlines Center, one thing you don't have to worry about is the American Airlines Center. That building will be hopping when it gets to games 3 and 4. Just imagine how it was when the Phoenix Suns came here. This team, this franchise hasn't been in the Western Conference Finals for 11 years. That building's going to be lit in games 3 and 4 here in Dallas. Let's see here. From Daycraw, I have the Mavs all the way. Mavs Heat Showdown Part 3. From Ethan, the Warriors have the second best home record this season, but we just knocked off the number 1 home team. That's a fact. That's a fact. As LaMelo Ball would say, that's a fact. So look, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. As a Warriors fan, I'm asking how are Mavs games. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, Ali. Nothing wrong with that at all, man. If you want to come up here for games 3 and 4, the crowd would be nice to you. Let you, come on in, enjoy your hot dog or some popcorn and watch the Mavs, beat the Warriors twice. And they'll send you back to California. Not too thrilled about that. I'm just joking. Not really. But look, I'm excited. I think Mavericks fans, the comment was made earlier. How about the fact that we are talking about Mavericks basketball and it's nearly late May? We haven't had this conversation in a long time around here about the Mavericks and what they're doing and how they're getting there. We'll see how it goes tonight. Jonathan Duncan, hello, Kevin. I'm having a few beers in San Francisco, waiting to head to the arena tonight. Mavs in 5. Okay, all right. Let's see here. 15-year anniversary of the We Believe team. Yep, 15 years ago, the We Believe Golden State Warriors, them boys with Baron Davis and, Matt Barnes, and those boys was out there taking out the number 1 seeded Dallas Mavericks and Dirk Nowitzki League's MVP. It's ancient history right now. It's time to focus on the here and the now, the present, the here and now, Ali. Let's see here. From money, let's see. I think it's a more likely chance that the Mavs could win in Golden State than Golden State winning here, which you like. You like that if you think that's the case. Let's see. From Steven, Mavs in 7. Bryback, Mavs in 4. We will shock. Wow. That's the first Mavs sweep I've seen predicted today. Mavs in 4. I'm not ready to take it there yet. Not willing to take it there at all, actually. But we'll see. Look, as we get ready to get out of here, it's going to be a fun series. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing the vintage Stephen Curry performances possibly in this series. We know if this thing gets to a game 6, how Klay Thompson likes to show up in game 6s. But these two teams will be able to put in, I think, what will be an epic series that I think will go the full 7 games. And look, I'm going to use the same reverse psychology I use in the series with the Suns. I'm going to pick the Warriors in 7, which is a good omen if you think that the Mavericks are going to win. And look, they'll prove me wrong once again. I think the championship experience will be just enough for the Warriors to win this series, but I will not be shocked if the Mavericks find a way to win this thing in 6 or 7. One thing is for sure, this team is extremely confident. They're not scared of anybody, and they know that they can beat anybody, anytime, anywhere. The common thread of these playoffs so far for the Mavericks have been this. Game 6, close out on the road, win. Game 7, on the road, close out, win. They know that they can beat anybody, anywhere, anytime, and that's the mentality they should play with going forward in the rest of this series. Appreciate that from Jamonta 214. Thank you for your work in the extra hour. So you got it. Love doing what I do, treating all the Mavericks fans to all this fire content we're putting out. And let's see here. Ali has been talking mad cash money about his Warriors. Mavs are going to start hot and wear down in the second half, my guess, like the Celtics. You can say that at your own peril. Choose that at your own peril, my guy. That's all I'm saying. Joshua, what's up with the league finding the Mavs bench for having fun? Hey, man, I don't know. They don't care. Jason Kidd didn't care. Let's see. Yeah, make sure you hit that like button. Hit that like button on your way out. If you're in the 105 Through the Fan YouTube chat room, make sure you hit that like button. Appreciate you joining us here, right here on 105 Through the Fan. Going to get out here in about 3 minutes or so. Any last comments, predictions on how you're feeling? Make sure you hit that like button. As I mentioned, you can find me on Twitter. Please go follow me on Twitter at Kevin Gray Sports. Follow 105 Through the Fan on Twitter as well. Make sure you're subscribing to 105 Through the Fan here on YouTube. Got a lot of fire content from all of our shows. Sean and RJ, KNC Masterpiece, G-Bag Nation, all of our shows talking about everything for this Mavericks team going into tonight's game. For money, if the Mavs get game one tonight, they won't be looking back, and that's the final word I'll say on this series. Love it. From Ethan, thanks, Kevin. Good luck tonight, everyone. Let's go Mavs. Who cares about the league? Just don't suspend anyone. All right. Mavs in 7. There's another Mavs prediction right there. Appreciate that. Hope everyone stays healthy for both teams. I will agree with that wholeheartedly for sure. Hopefully everyone stays healthy for both teams. That is the most important thing. Don't want to see either one of these teams deal with any kind of injury. Everyone be at full strength, have a fantastic series, and let's see how this thing plays out. Daycraw, appreciate that. Love the content. Love you guys. Again, follow us on Twitter at 105 Through the Fan. Follow me on Twitter at Kevin Gray Sports. Subscribe to 105 Through the Fan here on YouTube. We're going to be doing this throughout the course of the series for the rest of the playoffs. Wanted to get this opportunity to be able to do this for you guys. You guys have been tremendous supporting 105 Through the Fan, supporting the station and everything we've got going on here. Hopefully we can continue to do this, bring you some more Fire Live content like this so that you can enjoy yourself and, you know, hang out with the MFFLs, Mavericks fans, the Tolos, and everyone who is a part for this. From Ethan, back here for game 2, definitely. I can say that with 100% confidence. Definitely going to be back here for game 2. We'll make sure we get it out, get it scheduled so everyone can know when we go live right here on YouTube. That's it for me. I'm going to get out of here. Y'all go enjoy game number 1 tonight. Mavericks Warriors game 1. Western Conference Finals, tip off at 8 o'clock. Can Luka and the Mavericks steal game 1 on the road, find a way to get a split in this series before they get back to Dallas? Once again, one last time, subscribe to 105 Through the Fan here on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter at 105 Through the Fan. You can find me on Twitter at Kevin Gray Sports and follow me there on all my social media platforms on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Y'all be good to one another. We'll talk to you later. This has been the Mavs Report live right here on 105 Through the Fan here on YouTube. I'll talk to you later. Peace.